We're out here this week to reopen our excavations from last fall. We're hoping to find evidence of the first colonial courthouse. My name is David Cranford. I'm an assistant state archaeologist with the Office of State Archaeology in Raleigh. What we found last fall was an erosional depression or a gully filled with broken pieces of brick. This feature was found in the 1960s by a historic archaeologist named Stanley South. He identified that brick feature as a brick bat walk or walkway, and we were intrigued by whether or not that could be related to the colonial courthouse.
So the founding of Halifax dates back to about 1758, 1759. My name is Frank McMahon. I'm one of the site's historical interpreters here at Halifax. Right now we're in the center of the colonial town of Halifax. The original town was planned out with a courthouse being on this lot here behind us.
We're hoping that these excavations will allow us to say whether or not there's intact parts of that architecture still under the ground.
This is the base of essentially a wine bottle. We can tell that because it's a very thick olive green glass. My name is Mary Beth Fitz. I am an archaeologist with the Office of State Archaeology. We've also found numerous nails and window glass. These date to a variety of periods. We'll be able to take them back to the lab and figure out more precisely how old they are. For the window glass, it changes in thickness through time, so we'll be able to figure out which stages of the courthouse construction are represented. And the same thing with the nails. The round-headed nails date to the late 1800s, whereas the square nails will be earlier.
Many important meetings were taking place here in Halifax during the American Revolution. And at one of those meetings, the Fourth Provincial Congress, is where they give permission for representatives to eventually sign the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia. It's extremely likely that they were meeting in this courthouse.
We think that the courthouse probably stood right on this lot and gives us a chance to actually look for evidence of that structure. We've also found colonial era ceramics that date to the precise time period that the courthouse was built.
The oldest artifact that we found is this piece of pottery called Wheeldon ware. The little pattern you can see on it is called the barley pattern. This pottery dates to the mid-1700s. It's kind of an unusual green color, and it might actually have been produced in South Carolina by John Bartlam, who was one of the first colonial potters to establish a pottery in South Carolina. One of the more interesting finds that we found was this base of what appears to be some kind of wine glass or stemware, basically. It's sort of unusual to imagine that there was a wine glass out here.
They had bottles, they had plates and dishes, so events were taking place here that don't necessarily end up in the historic record.
Again, if we think about the fact that this area was used as an open space over time, and also that people have been celebrating the Halifax Resolves for at least 100 years now, it might well date to an earlier celebration at Halifax.
So you can expose it.
The bottom of the level is
not there. As archaeologists, we want to be able to recover those materials, find out what kinds of things people were doing here.
Better than this. Awesome.
Wow. That is really thick.
Cool. You think it might be like a tumbler?